Hey guys, Trey here, co-host of the Stick and Move podcast. Sam and I have a huge announcement, and that is this Saturday, April 20th at 9 p.m. Central Time. Sam and I are going live for the mega bout between Ryan Garcia versus Devin the Dream Haney. So when you guys see our thumbnail for this Saturday, go ahead and leave the reservation so that you guys can join our comment room. So that way you guys can enjoy our round commentary as Sam and I hope for the best fight possible. So go ahead, leave that reservation like you guys always do. Hit that like button and enjoy today's new episode. Until next time, guys. And don't forget to stick and move, baby.
I am the greatest. I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass. Won't do shit. Just stick and move. Waking you up and saying, now stick and move. Keep your hands up.
Welcome to a new episode of the Stick and Move podcast. I'm your host, Trey, here with my homeboy, Sam. And today we're talking about one of the most controversial subjects being talked about in the boxing world today, which is how would Bud Crawford have done against the 2000 legends of Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, Sugar Shane Mosley, and De La Hoya, from the super lightweight division all the way to the welterweight division. How would Crawford rank? And so I'm going to give it to you, Sam. Who would do the worst against Bud Crawford, or are these guys just too much for Bud Crawford? Who's number 5 in your books?
Look, if I were to put him in the ranking, right? Bud Crawford, Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya, Shane Mosley. Number 5 would be Shane Mosley.
Now, are you saying like if like just based on accolades, or if they actually met in the ring?
If they actually met,
Yeah.
If they actually met,
okay, go ahead.
Prime versus Prime, bro.
Mm-hmm.
If they actually met Prime, I mean, I think that Bud Crawford would have had his way with Shane Mosley. I think he would have destroyed him just the way Vernon Forrest did. You know what I'm saying? Probably even worse, a more tactical, more intelligent way of knocking him out. Right. I just think that that Bud Crawford, his aggressiveness would have been too much, and for Shane Mosley,
right?
You know, just his IQ alone,
and
then his power, bro, cutting off the ring and just being relentless. Whenever I can imagine that fight in my head. Shane Mosley trying to attack him with speed, and Crawford, coming back to destroy him at the end of the round.
Right.
And in that ranking, I got Shane Mosley at number 5.
And it's interesting because I also have Sugar Shane Mosley, because I actually think that fight, I'm not trying to take anything away from Mosley. He was great for who he was in that time. And I'll be honest, there was a time where I thought he was unbeatable, especially in that late 90s, early 2000s. But we're talking about the 2000s version of Sugar Shane Mosley and all these guys. Dude, after he lost to Vernon Forrest those 2 times, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he lost 4 of the last 5 fights right after that. Or I think he had a no contest with Marquez. I actually think that this fight would look more like when he fought CANELO. You remember how CANELO was just giving him a rib beating? I mean, I remember there was a point in that fight when CANELO fought Mosley. Like, man, I was thinking that Mosley's going to be pissing blood for the next 2 months. That's how hard CANELO was hitting Mosley in those rib cage. And I actually think Crawford would pick him apart. I think the ability that Crawford has to switch from left foot to right foot, I think it would be overwhelming for Sugar Shane Mosley. And I agree with you. I also have him number 5. You have any thoughts on that?
No, I agree 100%. I mean, I just think that, like I said, Bud Crawford being relentless like he is, his IQ, bro, it was just, I mean, he would have been too much, bro. I don't think that Shane Mosley would have even, he would have faded, in my opinion.
Right.
Mosley would have faded. It would have been just too much. The reach, the IQ, the
Right.
power of Bud. I just think it
Right.
would have been too much.
I agree with you. I honestly think that just them meeting. I think this will be the time where Sugar Shane Mosley doesn't even come out, like where he like there's gonna be a white towel going in for him. Like I just think it would just be older generation boxer just being overwhelmed by the speed and intellect by Bud Crawford. So you and I both have the same number 5. Look, this is a ranking, you know, we're putting a boxer, so odds are we're gonna have the same numbers. Hopefully not, but we both have the same number 5. So who is your number 4?
Oh man, this is where it's gonna get controversial.
Ay, ay, ay.
This is where
Talk
I'm
it.
gonna get the hate, but I'm gonna say it the way I see it by resume, who they fought,
Right,
the whole deal.
right.
I got Terrance Crawford number 4.
Ooh, okay. Talk
I
to me,
got
bro.
Terrance Crawford number 4 because I believe that De La Hoya in 2000. I think that um he would have
Well,
handled with
without revealing who your number 3, 2, 1 is, why would Crawford struggle against all 3 of those guys?
because I don't think that Crawford would have handled the prime Manny Pacquiao.
Hmm. And why not
I don't think
Mayweather?
that, and I think that Floyd would have been too smart for him.
Hmm.
And I feel that De La Hoya, just by the experience and everybody that De La Hoya's ever beaten or
Hmm.
he has fought against, it's just a better resume, bro. It's just
Hmm.
a better resume. I
Hmm.
think De La Hoya would have handled it. If there was any little fading from De La Hoya, would have been last 2 3 rounds, whatever. But I think he would have did enough to win on points with fair judges. I think De La Hoya would have been Bud Crawford.
That's interesting. And look, I'm gonna roll off of yours. I do not have Bud Crawford. I actually have De La Hoya my number 4 because I think you're missing in a key factor. In 2000, in 99 when he lost to Trinidad, that set like a domino effect. He would start losing to Mosley. I mean, something happened in the 2000s where I felt that he would get a little bit exposed and he was starting to struggle, especially with the more faster upbeat boxers. Now, I will give De La Hoya credit. He does have experience with defensive technicians of boxers, like when he fought Pernell Whitaker and such. And you and I did a whole episode if that was a robbery, and you and I were consensus that De La Hoya dominated that fight. And I think he would take that intellect into the ring. But I honestly think after his defeat going into the 2000s, because that's what we're talking about, going to the 2000s, I think De La Hoya, if he would have met a primo right after Earl Spence kind of boxer, I think that it would look like a 9-3 kind of fight. And I'll say this too. I think they go the distance. I'm not saying Crawford would knock him out, bro. Like I'll admit, when we first started this podcast, I think our second episode was most overrated boxers of all time, and I had De La Hoya on there, and ever since then, I've been apologizing for that. But one thing I will stay true about the De La Hoya criticism is, bro, he always faded those last rounds, those championship
Yeah.
rounds, if we want to call them that. And I think that would cost him. I think besides Emmanuel Stewart, besides Freddie Roach, if man, I would have to know who's going to be in the corner of De La Hoya, because whoever's giving him the chatter in the ear, oh, you're doing great, you're doing great. That's the De La Hoya you're going to get in the mid to late rounds, and I cannot depend on that. You know what I'm saying? So that is why I have De La Hoya in my number 4. Do you have a problem with that? Talk to me.
No, I have absolutely no problem with that. And look, I didn't want to. I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it, but I had to pick one to throw one in
Mhm.
because I can see Crawford also beating De La Hoya. But
Right.
I had to make a choice,
Mhm.
and I was just like, you know what? I'm going to put Bud Crawford there just by his resume because De La Hoya has a better resume.
You're 100% right. You and I did probably one of our most popular episodes is Bud Crawford overrated? And even though you and I said his skills is second to none, just based on the resume, I mean, he has a lot of work to do. I mean, I wish he was 26 and not 36, because he would have more time to develop and build that resume. But man, he's already on his way out. He only fights once a year anyways, if that. And
beautiful.
Yeah,
beautiful, bro.
If that, and he's running out of time. And I agree with you. De La Hoya has a spectacular resume, win or lose. Of course, at that time, you know, it was a different way of boxing. But I will say this: I kind of feel, if I'm going to compare this fight to anything, even though I said Crawford would win 9-3, I actually kind of think it would reflect more like when he fought Bernard Hopkins. If you remember that fight, dude, leading up to that fight, De La Hoya, and he was also on a losing streak too. And he had that controversial win with Felix Sturm, which, by the way, you and I need to do an episode on. He came into the fight with Bernard Hopkins, in my opinion, not ready. It was just too much of a weight class disparity, and he goes up and he was just overwhelmed. And to me, Crawford is that natural 147, and I think he would just be too much for De La Hoya. You know what I'm saying? So now that you have Crawford, I'm actually curious. So now Sam's going to give me his number 3, and he's going to tell me why he would do better against Bud Crawford. Now, just for the audience to know, Sam and I, we're not saying that these boxers are better than the next one, okay? It's just more like, how would they do in the fight? Like, who's going to do the best against Bud Crawford? So give me your number 3, bro. All right. Yeah, your number 3, right?
My number 3 is De La Hoya.
Okay, talk to me.
Because like I said, I could see it going both ways, but I had to choose one.
Yeah.
You know, and the reason I got De La Hoya over Crawford is because of his resume.
Right.
The people that he's fought. I mean, one thing nobody could say about De La Hoya is that he's a duck, bro.
No.
Nobody could say that.
Probably, yeah. Definitely.
That's good, you know, and he had skills, bro. He had skills.
I agree. I've come
and
around
he had skills. And it's just a fading. I get what you're saying. I mean, we all saw that. I mean, I was one to say also that De La Hoya was an 8-round boxer, and you just couldn't trust him towards the end.
Yeah.
But I had to pick one to throw him in. And I love what you said about Crawford, though. If he was 26, bro, holy, I mean, that would have been, he could have surpassed Floyd. You know, if he was 26, bro. If he was 26 years old and he fought, you know, the way they used to fight 2 or 3 times a year, dude, that would have been so much better. But because of politics have destroyed a lot of boxing, a lot of boxers' careers, bro.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely.
You know, they're already saying, you know, how is Spence going to do? How is Spence going to do being, you know, beat up and come back out after all that layoff? Or even Crawford, you know, depending on who Crawford fights. I mean, dude, the inactivity in these boxers is ridiculous. But anyways, going back to the topic, I just feel that De La Hoya would have done better.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm not mad, because I can see if he has Emmanuel Stewart in his corner, or if he has Freddie Roach in his corner, I could see where they would get the best form and conditioning out of De La Hoya. And I could see where De La Hoya, it would look like, in my opinion, even though he lost this fight, but you and I did an entire episode on greatest robberies of all time. I could see where De La Hoya makes this fight look like when he fought Trinidad, where he just dominated. And unfortunately, like you just said, you know, the last 2 or 3 rounds, he just, you know, literally ran around the ring. You know, I could see where he can make this a fight that looks more resembling like Trinidad, where he controls with the jab. Because one thing that I came around to, like I said, at one point I had him overrated, But what I've come around to realize, bro, he was second to none when it came to that jab, that foot movement. He was active in the ring. He had a lot of movement. I honestly think that he was a more sharper version of Errol Spence pre the accident. You know, you and I on that episode, if Crawford is overrated, you and I talked, how would Crawford have done against Spence if he never got into that accident? I actually think it could have rivaled what De La Hoya was. Same kind of style, in my opinion, with a long, stiff jab. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and you and I were even saying it could have been a totally different fight. Maybe got a different distance. So, I'll leave it at that. Okay, so yeah.
So what's your number 3?
Now, this is controversial. And dude, I'm actually going to go Floyd Mayweather. So I actually believe Bud Crawford would beat Floyd Mayweather. Now, I know a lot of boxing fans currently right now, especially the ones that commented on that episode where you and I talked about how overrated he was. A lot of those comments were saying that he is a better fighter than Floyd Mayweather. And I actually tend to agree with them. You know, doing research, and you and I have spent countless episodes talking about Floyd Mayweather. You got to realize the 2000s version of Floyd Mayweather, it's not Money Mayweather. It's Pretty Boy Floyd Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? This is a guy, before he changed his style, before he changed his philosophy, he struggled in those early to mid 2000s. He struggled against Zav Judah, which, you know, you can argue, did Zav Judah get him on the ground? I mean, his glove definitely hit the ground. You know what I mean? Castillo, right? More of a traditional Mexican fighting style. That's the Mayweather that would have gone in, where he was more head forward. You know, and then fought Castillo again, and that one went the distance, and a couple of judges had it by 1 point. Ortiz, Miguel Cotto, these guys had a better, more successful way of fighting against Mayweather. Of course, Ortiz and Cotto, that's more of the money version of Floyd Mayweather. But if we're going to the 2000s version of Floyd Mayweather, he was a little bit more willing to get into the phone booth with the boxers. I'm not saying he was a phone booth boxer. I'm not saying that at all. But he was willing to throw down, and that is something that Crawford would have loved to endure. Okay? I honestly think that Crawford, if this hypothetical fight would have happened in, I don't know, 2004, 2007, doesn't matter. I think Crawford, hold on. I think Crawford, for me, would have, especially with being a lefty and switching stances throughout the fight, I think it would have been too much. Now, go ahead, hit me.
Bro. Bro. Who was Bud Crawford's what was his biggest win, bro? His biggest win.
Bro. You and I had a whole episode on that. I get it. I agree. Yes.
Spence stood in front of him.
Right.
Didn't move. No mobility, bro. No adjustments. Who was the one before him? Sean Porter. A guy that just came to attack, bro.
Right.
Jose Benavidez, that everybody beaten. Dude is struggling.
Right.
He's been shot in the leg.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Kell Brook, broken audible bone since Triple G, bro.
Yeah.
And destroyed by Spence. Floyd is too smart, bro.
All right.
Floyd is not going to stand in front of Crawford. Floyd will frustrate Bud Crawford, bro.
Ooh, okay.
In my opinion.
Well, hold on. We're talking about the 2000s version, when he was more money than, when he was more Pretty Boy than Money. Yes, Money was late 2000s. I agree. But in that amount, the majority of the time, he was Pretty Boy, and that Floyd Mayweather didn't mind scrapping a little bit. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but he was intelligent. He knew who to scrap with.
He definitely was, yeah.
He knew who to scrap with. I think that Floyd would time his punches, dodge whatever Crawford is, frustrate Crawford. Crawford had never met somebody that is mobile like Floyd, and the defense of Floyd. I just don't see it.
I
I got
mean,
Floyd 2000 beating Crawford in his prime.
well, look, yes, I could see where you're going from, but you're talking about a Floyd, bro. I mean, he didn't become Money Mayweather to De La Hoya. What was that? 2007, 2008. So we're talking about the latter half of the 2000s. Yes, I agree with you. He was the smartest boxer of that generation, perhaps of all time. But it took a while to get there. And the boxers that he did struggle with, like with Zab Judah, he was
Castillo.
always, yeah, he was always going the distance at the time. Well, he was never a knockout artist, but in that early part he was, because he would he would close the range a little bit between him and his opponent. But here's the other thing, bro. Who did he fight in that 2000s time that had the skill of Bud Crawford? You know what I'm saying? I honestly think Bud Crawford would have tried to cut off the ring. I'm not saying he would, but I honestly, and by the way, I think that fight would also go to distance. I don't think Bud Crawford is knocking him out,
Yeah.
or going into my number two, my number one. But I just think Floyd Mayweather would have a hard time against Bud Crawford. Go ahead and finish your thought.
I think he would have a hard time against Crawford, but he's not going to lose to Crawford. The opponents, the resume. Floyd Mayweather fought the best boxers the world had to offer, bro. Believe it or not, people don't see it, man. They're only seeing now. You know what I'm saying? Floyd fought the best boxers in the world, bro. Champions. I mean, the guy was just too smart. Highlight reels is if you see a highlight reel of Floyd getting hit, it's just getting hit. The dude's
And
never been knocked out. The dude, I've never, maybe once I think I saw him with Bambi legs against Sab. Who was it? Remember Floyd when he got
Zab Judah.
shooken?
Well,
And with Shane Mosley, remember when he got shot? He got hit by Shane Mosley.
yeah. And Zab got him on the ground, but
Yeah, but it's
doing what
just
it
I
is.
feel that Floyd was just too smart. There's no, just my opinion.
But we're also discrediting Bud Crawford. I honestly think that Bud Crawford is also a very intellectual boxer as well. And he would know as well, like, okay, this guy, he's going to keep his distance from me. How do I win the in-between fight that is appealing to the judge? I think Crawford's also just as intelligent. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
I mean, that's why they're both undefeated. Yes, I agree. Crawford's resume is dog crap, especially early on. You and I already talked. First quarter of his career was straight trash. You know what I mean? I just think that Crawford would outpoint or outpace Mayweather and get the win. All right. So, what are we on? Number one for you?
Number two.
No, number two. What is your number two?
My number two is Floyd.
Okay. Now, by the way, he's not saying that Floyd is not better or worse than his number one. I guess it would obviously be Pacquiao. He's just saying that if it came down to this fight, who would do the best against Bud Crawford? So you got Floyd number two. Talk to me.
Yeah, I just feel that like everything I just said earlier. I think that Floyd would have outsmarted him. I think that that Bud Crawford has never fought a guy as intelligent as Floyd Mayweather. With the defense like Floyd, with Roger Mayweather and his dad in his corner. It just, dude, they had a game plan. That's why they were defeated. That's why they're calling him the GOAT and all that. I mean, the guy was just too intelligent, man. I think he would frustrate Crawford. I don't see Crawford defeating him.
So why do you think many of our listeners and even just regular boxing fans, I mean, you heard it after the Errol Spence fight. Why did a lot of them say that Crawford would take Mayweather to the shed?
I think that they can't look past the beating he gave Errol Spence.
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying? Like they're just seeing the beating.
Mm-hmm.
They're not seeing that Errol Spence was just standing in front of him, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And people that really know boxing understand that Floyd had made no, I mean, Spence made no adjustments. He
Mm-hmm.
stood right in front of him.
Yeah.
And then we've already talked about this. That Bud has beaten all of Spence's leftovers.
It's true. It's true. You're definitely right about that.
And I think people just can't get their minds off of the beating he gave Spence, and they automatically think he's the best that's ever laced the gloves.
Right, right, right. I agree with you. Even though I had Crawford ahead of Mayweather, I understand what you're trying to say when it comes down to. I'm sorry about that. My phone going off. And I'm one of them. I just think what I saw in that fight, the reason why that's being overlooked, why I have Bud Crawford over Mayweather, is that I think he's a smart fighter as well. Has he fought anybody like him? No, you're right. But I think his ability to switch stances, he has speed, he has power. I mean, yes, we've seen Crawford get wobbled against Gamboa and the Eastern European guy, I forgot his name. Yes, we've seen him get wobbled, but just like Floyd Mayweather, bro, like you could count on your hand how many times Crawford has been dealt with. And if I'm not mistaken, it's been since 2015, 2016 that he has gone the distance, Bud Crawford. He's been on a knockout TKO rampage for the better half of almost a decade. And I think yes, the competition is weak, but I think I think he could take that intellect. And that is why I have to disagree with you, why I have it backwards with you, with Mayweather, your number two, and Crawford, my number two. I think it's just a different fight. You have any last thoughts on that?
No, no. I mean, I understand what you're saying. You're trying to make the point that Crawford has the knowledge, the IQ, and the power to stop Floyd, but
Mm-hmm.
nobody has, bro.
Yeah.
Nobody
And
has,
I'll say
bro.
this. Mayweather, and this might be a hot take, I don't think has ever fought anybody as smart as Bud Crawford either. That's just me. But all right, so I'm going to give you my number two, and you and I will roll into our number one because I have Bud Crawford number two because I think he would lose to Manny Pacquiao. Obviously, you have Manny Pacquiao number one as well. Let me give you my spiel, and then you can tell me what you think. Give me your thoughts. Bro, if we're talking about 2000 to 2009 or 2010, bro, there was nobody more dangerous than Manny Pacquiao, bro. His only loss at that time was to Morales, and there's plenty of boxers out there or boxing fanatics that say that Pacquiao was robbed of that fight, even though you and I already reviewed it, and you and I both had Morales winning that fight. But, bro, that was the last guy you wanted to fight. Best foot movement, best head movement. At that time, from 2000 to 2009, 2010, not even the guy you were saying, Mayweather, your number two, wanted anything to do with Manny Pacquiao, even
Nothing.
to the point where he would try to get out of the conversation. And I believe this. A lot of our fans are not gonna like what I'm about to say, and maybe you can second me or maybe
Say it, bro.
disagree with
Say
me.
it. I already know.
A lot of our fans or a lot of our subscribers, a lot of Mayweather fans, but to me, I think he was ducking Pacquiao. I think he was like, you know what, man? I am going to start a rumor to buy some time. And that rumor was, well, he's on roids. He doesn't want to take the urine test. He doesn't want to take the steroid test. And I will not fight him. When there was never any proof that Pacquiao was on the juice or not. Nobody in the 2000s time wanted to fight. Pacquiao, he was retiring everybody. He was retiring De La Hoya. He almost retired Margarito. He retired Hatton. I mean, this guy in the 2000, nobody. And to be honest, yes, he was more of the lightweight, super lightweight division. But when he went up to welterweight and he fought Antonio Margarito and he fought De La Hoya, bro, I actually think that was his best weight division. You know, I mean, he became a legend at 130 and 135, but I think his best fighting was at welterweight, my man.
Dude,
anyway,
when he destroyed Cotto, bro.
Talk to me,
bro.
Why is he also your number one?
He's Manny Pacquiao is my number one because exactly what you said. There was a moment in my life when I was watching boxing every weekend, every month. It almost felt like Pacquiao was fighting every 2 months or something.
It did.
Pacquiao was chopping heads, bro, right and left, destroying all his opponents for a good, I don't know how many years it was. I didn't hear anything about Floyd.
Right.
I didn't hear anything about Floyd, bro. Floyd was not even a conversation, brother. You know what I'm saying? Manny Pacquiao was chopping everybody's heads. I just feel that Manny Pacquiao in 2000, bro, would have destroyed Bud Crawford, in my opinion, bro. I think the power, the relentless, I think he would have been just too much for him. If we're gonna have a Gamboa, you know, giving Crawford Bambi legs, bro. You know what I'm saying? If we're gonna have that, you know, Manny Pacquiao would have destroyed him with that flying left hand, bro.
Right.
In my opinion, I think Manny Pacquiao knew how to dodge. He was really fast on his feet. Probably the best footwork ever in boxing. And Manny Pacquiao number one, bro. There's no way that Floyd nor Crawford would have beat Manny Pacquiao.
So let's actually now we're you and I we're talking Pacquiao's praise. What would the fight look like in your opinion? Like, how would it go? Why would he do the best against Terrance Crawford? Now, once again,
I think that Go ahead.
We're not saying Pacquiao is better than Mayweather. We're just saying that in this fight, he would look the best against Bud Crawford against everybody else. So talk to me. Or maybe you think Pacquiao is the best, but go ahead. How would the fight look?
Look. I'm going to say something because a lot of people are going to start thinking about Manny Pacquiao when he fought Ugas. We're talking about 2000.
Right.
Okay, this is 2000. 20 plus years ago, Manny Pacquiao.
Right.
I believe that Manny Pacquiao would have destroyed him the way he destroyed Margarito, the way he destroyed Miguel Cotto.
Right.
That's the way I believe that Manny Pacquiao would have destroyed Bud Crawford. I think it's too much power. It's too much speed. Everybody that's fought Manny Pacquiao has said his speed is incredible. Even Tim Bradley praised him about it.
Right.
It's just, that's my opinion.
Right. And I agree with you. I actually think that this fight will be called, it'll be a TKO where it's just overwhelming, where it'll be Manny Pacquiao in punches and bunches. I just think in that time in 2000, nobody was beating Manny Pacquiao, bro. Nobody. Think about what it took for you to beat that guy, even post 2000s. It took a robbery from Bradley, which you and I need to do, by the way. It took a lucky shot from Marquez that Marquez, if there was 30 seconds left on the clock, he probably would have been done.
Yeah.
And he gets that lucky
dude, and you saw the trip of the feet.
Right.
When he got knocked out by Marquez, you saw that.
Right. And I just think that for Manny Pacquiao, it would have been a whole complete different level. Well, let's go ahead and leave it at that. You have any final thoughts about this episode, my man?
I love it, man. I love talking about Crawford. I love talking about Manny Pacquiao and all the greats, man. And like I said, every single one of these fighters are great in their own,
Absolutely.
Exactly. So I just had we're rating them against, 20-some years ago against Crawford, and how would they stand? Nothing, no hate on Crawford or anybody else.
No.
This is just our stance on the fight.
Absolutely. We'll go ahead and leave it at that. Do you have any final words for our audience out there?
Yes, I appreciate every one of y'all that are liking and watching our channel. Subscribe for those who haven't. We're trying to reach a goal by the end of the year so we can keep putting out more content. And if there's any guys that any fights or any person, any boxer that I wanted to talk about, we can make an episode on it.
Absolutely. So yeah, just like Sam said, guys, if you get a message from me, it's the Stick and Move podcast. You get a message from Sam, it's Stick and Move Sam 75. We're trying to get to as many comments as possible. If it takes a while, we apologize. Just keep them coming. The likes and the comments help out the algorithm tremendously. And as I always like to say, don't forget to stick and move, baby.
I am the greatest. I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass. Just stick and move. And making you understand, now stick and move.